You do not ride down a dragon's mountain. You fly. I want you to understand what that is. To be lifted off the black altar where you came to die, cradled against a wall of warm scale and carried up into a sky going purple with dusk, while the world you knew shrinks to nothing beneath you. I should have been terrified. I had been terrified my whole life, on the ground, where it was supposed to be safe. Up there, in the arms of the monster, I was not afraid at all. That was the first thing that frightened me. He set me down inside the mountain. Not a cave, a court. A vast hall of black volcanic glass shot through with veins of living gold, fire pouring up the walls without smoke, pillars carved like the bones of something ancient. The Dragon King's Keep. For 300 years, the village whispered of this place as a slaughterhouse. No one ever told me it was beautiful. No one ever told me it would feel, the moment my bare feet touched the warm stone, like a place my body had been homesick for. "You'll be cold," he said. He, the creature of fire, worrying that I would be cold. And a cloak of something dark and soft was around my shoulders before I could answer. Up close, in the gold light, he was less monster and more man than I wanted him to be. "You have questions," he said. "Only every single one ever conceived," I told him. The corner of his mouth moved, almost a smile. On a face like that, it was like watching a mountain decide to be gentle. "Then the first truth," he said. "You are not cursed, Seraphina. You never were. What lives in your blood is not a sickness. It is a birthright." He let that sit. "There were once others like you, dragonborn, human in seeming, fire in the blood. The only humans a dragon's flame would never touch. They were rare, they were precious, and they were—" something moved behind his eyes, old and terrible. "They were destroyed. All of them, a long time ago. I believed I was mourning the last of them. Until 4 nights ago, when I felt one wake." Me! He meant me! The cursed girl, the debt, the thing her village fastened into a burial gown, the last of a precious, vanished people. I sat down rather suddenly on a step of warm black glass. A whole life of being too much, too strange, too hot to hold, and it had never once been a flaw. It had been the last ember of something the world thought it had put out. I didn't know whether to laugh or weep, so I did a little of both. And the great, terrible king of dragons stood there and let me, patiently, like he had all the time that I had never been given. And of course, that was the moment the doors opened. She came in like she owned the fire, and from the way the flames leaned toward her, perhaps she half did. Tall, sharp, beautiful in the way of a drawn blade, hair like white gold coiled at her neck, a gown the deep red of banked coals, and a sleek, lethal stillness. "My king," she said, and her voice was honey over a knife. "I heard the 100th offering had disappointed you." Her eyes found me on my step, in my soot-smudged white dress, and did a slow, devastating inventory. "Oh," she said softly, "I see. It hasn't disappointed you at all." "Lady Ashvane," the king said, and there is a warning in it. She ignored the warning the way only someone very high-born or very dangerous can. She crossed the hall to me and looked down, and up close her beauty had a chill to it, a perfume of smoke and old wine. "Do you know," she murmured just for me, "I have waited at this court a very long time to be its queen. Centuries, little Ember. I have been patient. And then a frightened village sends a barefoot girl up a mountain, and suddenly my king kneels." Her smile did not reach her eyes. "I do wonder how long a thing like you lasts up here." "Longer than your patience, by the sound of it," I said before I could stop myself. For a heartbeat, her composure cracked. Just a flash of something molten and furious, and then it was gone, smoothed over, more dangerous for being hidden. She laughed, light and lovely, and stepped back. "Charming," she said. "I'll have wine sent to your chambers, sweet thing. A welcome, the least the court can do." And she swept out in a wave of red and white gold, and I should have felt I'd won something. Instead, my too warm blood had gone cold. They gave me chambers I could have lost myself in. A bed like a cloud, windows open to a sky thick with strange stars, and on a low table, as promised, a single goblet of wine, deep and red and waiting. A welcome, the least the court could do. I was so tired, tired in my bones, in the place that had been carrying fear up that mountain all day. I reached for the cup and stopped. Because the wine was wrong. I leaned close, and the heat in my blood, the birthright I was only just learning to listen to, recoiled, actually recoiled from the smell of it. Underneath the wine was something else, something bitter and green and old. I did not know its name yet. I would learn it. Dragon's bane. The one poison on this earth that can kill a thing with fire in its veins. A welcome cup from the woman who has waited centuries to be queen. I set the goblet down very, very carefully, my hands not quite steady, and I understood all at once that I had not escaped a death on the mountain. I had simply walked into a far more patient one. I had spent my whole life being the thing that other people decided was disposable. The cursed girl, the debt, the offering. And I was so tired of dying quietly for other people's comfort. I looked at that poisoned cup glowing in the firelight, and for the first time, the heat under my skin did not feel like a curse or even a birthright. It felt like a weapon. Lady Ashvane wanted to know how long a thing like me would last up here. I picked up the goblet, crossed to the open window, and poured the poison out into the dark. And I decided, somewhere in that black volcanic night, that I was going to last long enough to teach her.